What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. On today's episode we're going to show you how to install these Shockworks coilovers into our VH Commodore.
Time to get stuck into some more sweet work on this big girl.
That's it, mate.
And whilst we said it in an earlier episode, we have run into where you can't run any more intercooler piping because it's going to be hard to fit it past front struts, but you do have a solution for that, kind of.
That's it. These coilovers have got a much smaller spring, so it's going to give me as much room as I can get to route that piping through there.
Actually, we'll show you what we mean under the guard here. So, this is where we need to run some intercooler piping, correct?
Yes. Yep. So,
keeping with the stealth theme.
Yeah, if you haven't seen on any of the other previous episodes, we have a turbo all the way out the back, which means we need to get all the piping to the motor. So, at the moment, the piping finishes just under here somewhere. It's not on the car, but we need to route it up through here and over in this general direction. So, it's only 2.5 inch piping. You probably could, if you really wanted to, get it through there without a coilover strut, but you know, we're going to give ourselves the most room we can.
Plus, who doesn't want a sweet new set of coilovers anyway?
Yeah.
It's the diameter of this strut, this McPherson strut that they use in the Commodores, is really sort of hindering. If I get the camera in here, you can see there's really not much room between the spring and the spring perch and the inner wheel guard. Whereas aftermarket coil setup has a much narrower diameter, so
it's just going to make life a little bit easier.
That's it.
Like I said, you could get through there because you got to remember this is sagging at the moment. So by the time this comes up to ride height, all this brake line's going to be up higher. We've got all this stuff, so the pipe's only 2.5 inch. It's not a big pipe. I've gotten much bigger pipes through this area before, but we're just going to give ourselves as much room as we can because why not?
Yeah. We did order a nice set of coilovers. They're in a nice shiny box over there on the bench. And what do you say we go and have a look?
Let's show them.
Righto, show us what you got, horse.
Let's open the box.
All right, brother. We went on a search and we asked for a bunch of recommendations on a set of coilovers. So give us a look at what we've ended up with.
So we got these bad boys from Shockworks. Cool Australian company. We got sorted out by Tim and Chris. They were really good to deal with, weren't they, Jeff?
They certainly were.
Give us a free sticker.
I'm taking that.
Good. Some gloves and some C-spanners.
Driving gloves.
So, the main selling point with these, and I think the main thing that got us over the line, other than the fact that they're an Australian company, is that these coilovers have been valved to our specifications. Now, in this particular instance, there isn't much special going on with the VH. It's just a daily driver cruiser sort of deal. So we didn't need anything special. But if we did, they could have certainly accommodated us in that regard. I'll get one out so we can take a look at it. And first look, they look really good. They've come with the tops as well. Sweet tops. And I don't know, man. What do you reckon? I think they look pretty good.
I reckon they look sweet. I do like that we've got the camber adjustment, and like you said, even though we don't have anything super special going on with the wagon, we did have that phone call from Shockworks. They asked to know what engine it had, if we were running a 4-link in the back, what sort of driving we were doing. Obviously this one, you know, it's a 6-speed manual, stock 5 litre, with a stock Borg-Warner rear end, so nothing crazy going on.
It's just a street car.
The brief was we want it to be as comfortable as a nice new Munro GT shock, but we want it to be able to, you know, handle if we went on, like, say, a hills run or something like that.
Yeah, we didn't actually buy these struts for any sort of handling.
But being able to dial in that ride height and get a nice ride quality from them is a nice little bonus. Like you said, I don't think there'd be many other companies out there who would offer that custom valving service, particularly for a Commodore type of strut in this price bracket.
Yeah, it's like an added bonus really for the price range that these are. These ones retail for $1,600, I believe, so you know, a good price range. They're definitely not ludicrously expensive, And you know, you basically get something that's got a spring rate and shock absorber's been valved to your specs, so you can't really ask for much more than that. And the quality on first look looks really, really good.
Also important to know, these were not a sponsored product. Caden did pay for these, but the guys at Shockworks did look after us. Excellent service, would you not agree?
Absolutely, yeah.
And the communication from start to finish was second to none. So we do recommend it, even though it cost us money. Crazy.
That's it. Yeah, that's
Who would
right.
have thought someone might actually recommend a product that they truly believe in?
Yeah, people do get upset, but you know, that's what we're all about. So if you are in the market, honestly, give the guys a buzz. 5 minutes on the phone will have you sold. I promise you, they're really cool to deal with.
Yeah.
And that I'm not pissing in your pocket. That's just real. It is.
Real talk.
If you're in the market, definitely check them out, and I don't think you could go wrong. With all the early Commodore struts, all the coilovers that I've seen anyway, there is a little bit of welding involved, and these are no different. So as you can see, there's nowhere to mount the wheel or hub or anything. So there is a bit of work involved in modifying the old strut in order to press it in and weld it in, and we will get into that very shortly. But just, yeah, a side note, that is why they look like this. There is some welding to do.
Well, I guess it's time for me to pull that stock strut setup out, and we'll get these coil ups fitted up. Probably also important to note that this has got a VT brake upgrade up front as well, so we might run you through that when we have to reassemble it. See? Don't just belt the piss out of that castle nut, because you're just going to break it. Hit in here and break the seal on the taper first, and then give it a little
All right, Dad.
Down here on the bench, nice. You can kind of see what Kurt was talking about before in the way that the strut is. So this collar here at the bottom is actually a little bit wider than the strut itself here, but you press that on. So what we're going to do is we've got to dismantle this whole strut assembly. We'll take the strut top off, spring. From there you can get to the nut here, and we can take the shock cartridge out. Once that's out, we've got to cut this strut assembly and leave about 45 mil from this knuckle here at the bottom, which is pressed in up, and then you can probably see just in here it's got a machine almost interference fit. It's very close. So what we'll need to do is we'll take this wind this collar off. Once we've cut this strut, we'll press that onto here, and then Kurt, you'll get busy chasing a puddle around the bottom of this section just here. Weld that onto there, and then from there we can then screw this coilover strut into that socket, which will then make this complete. And like you can see, this has got the adjustable strut top to replace all of this as well. It's got the spring. It's all like, look at that. Look at the difference in diameter. And this is what we were talking about before. This is what's going to give us so much more room for those intercooler pipes. So what I'm going to do now is get stuck into dismantling these. Get the old Widow makers out, mate. These spring compressors, I don't know, everyone seems to be real scared of them. And yes, because we've seen all the videos online of people doing stupid shit with them and hurting themselves or other people, but they really aren't that dangerous if you use them properly. So we'll compress these springs, take this whole assembly off, and get that collar welded on. When you do them up, all you're doing is just compressing them just enough just to take the pressure off that nut so that it doesn't want to spring this strut top off. You don't need to compress them all the way. That's when shit gets dangerous and they want to bind up and fling off and whatever. Just take a little bit of preload on the spring and we'll undo this nut. Now that's undone. Just lift that off. Take that off. Take these off. And there's not enough load on these to hurt you. It's as simple as that. And then getting the shock body out. Honestly, we probably didn't even need to do all this because we're going to chop this body about here somewhere, which you'll see in a minute. But if you were doing shocks, the shock body comes out. Whoop. I have cracked this, I will be honest. It doesn't come out this easy, but you undo this nut. There you go. And there's your shock canister. With all of this bit here done, we get to hand it over to our handy dandy welder man, where we can measure up. There's about 50 mil until that seat, so we're going to measure up about here, 45 mil. Cut the strut body here, and having this 45 mil here on the shock body ensures that when we press it on and we butt it up against this bottom here, that it's perfectly dead straight as well. Run a weld around the bottom, and it's time to put it all back in the car. Oh, what do you mean these shocks are no good, bro? They were fine. Nothing wrong with them. Like these will go on without too much persuasion. What do you reckon?
We got a hammer. And we got a press as well at your place if we need it.
We do have a press, but if we can get it on without it, which I think it'll go close.
We'll see. Ooh, you hear it, you can feel it. In the blood.
Why does the sticker go on that side there? One, so that you can see it's a Shockworks shock, but also...
I'm assuming it's so you can get your access to your shock adjustment from the side. It'd be easier.
You got these windows that go facing front and rear so that you can adjust your shock dampener. So if you need a little bit, couple of clicks of hard, couple of clicks of soft, whatever you need. Clever, 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 clever.
I like it.
Pretty good, mate.
Yeah, I reckon. I'm happy with it.
They are a good looking unit, aren't they?
Yep.
Nice, I like the grey. It's not like bright colours and stuff, which for this build, obviously, sleeper.
I actually only just noticed how thick the actual shaft is on it. It's probably twice as thick as the stock unit, I reckon.
On the shock, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the Ram.
Yeah.
It's pretty beefy, boy.
Yeah.
But I guess it has to be when you've got everything else that's a lot skinnier. Maybe.
Possibly.
Don't know. But they are a good looking unit. Like I say, this is what we were talking about before. You got that access hole there for your shock adjustment, which is why we put them that way. So now, I guess all that's left, mate, is just put them back in the car.
That's it.
Well, it's in there finger tight, but look how much room for activities you got in there, mate.
Yeah.
Should be good, eh?
Look at this. I'll grab a bend. We'll see.
Oh, look at that, mate. You got room for days.
Yeah. There's no brake line tags on this yet, so when we get it all buttoned up, back at ride height, etc., I'll see what I want to do there. I know you can buy some little clamps that have a rubber mount, or I don't know. We'll see what we're doing, but we'll see where the brake line's at, and then I can decide what we're going to do with the piping. But I'm actually real happy with that. Welded pretty nice as well, which I wasn't surprised, but you never know. You never know what this car stuff's going to weld like. So
yeah, and you probably like we obviously chose to TIG it because Kurt's got a TIG and he's quite proficient in it. But you didn't necessarily have to TIG it. You probably could have MIG'd it. Hell, if you were really in a bind, you probably could have sticked it.
Well,
like
any weld will do.
That's right. Yeah, because it's sitting on. It's sort of sleeving over that original strut body, so that's probably what's going to keep it, sitting true. And the weight of the vehicle is obviously going to keep it down on the knuckles. But that weld is just to keep it nice and secure. So any weld would have done. Obviously, yeah. I'm just blessed to have someone that can do nice ones. So we've just taken a guess on the ride height. We won't know what that is until we sit it on the ground.
I don't even think we really guessed, honestly. We sort of just screwed it up and was sort of like, oh yeah, we didn't measure anything before, so
yeah,
that's all right. We can play with that. That's all good.
And I mentioned before this thing has a VT brake upgrade, so I just want to show you a couple of things, well, just the one thing really that you need to do to get that job done. So you buy these hub adapters. These are a slightly different hub to what you would normally get on a VH. If you pop that grease cap off, you've just got a nut in there, and you've got your outer and inner bearing. So all you do is you just grease up those two bearings, slip that on the spindle, and you put this hub adapter on, and what that allows you then to do is run one of these. This is a 298mm brake disc, VT brake disc. Obviously it's hasn't seen any use yet, so she's gone a little bit rusty. And you can use these factory VT dual piston calipers, which is honestly a great, very simple upgrade for an early Commodore if you are going to give it a little bit more juice, a little bit more pep in its step, and you want it to have a nice positive pedal. If you do that VZ brake booster and master upgrade, as well as our VT brake upgrade. We've obviously got VL turbo rear brakes on this one. Definitely gives you a nice cheap upgrade without going to town, like Kurt buying Woolwoods or whatever. All right. Brake nipple at the top. You bleed your brakes up, not down. Bleed your brakes up.
Yes, Dad. I need that Milwaukee ratchet, bro?
I've been telling you. Father's Day's coming, bro. Milwaukee battery ratchet will not be there. Torq hub socks might be there on the merch store.
Just saying.
If you're a wife and you're stuck watching this stupid video and you're thinking what you're going to get your old man, Torq hub socks, torqhub.com.au, and don't fuck your bolt up. So wheels are on. This is the moment of truth, Kurt. Did we nail the ride height first go? Unlikely, but let's see.
Too high or too low? What do you reckon?
I'm hoping too low. Oh,
no,
too high.
Way too high.
That's a beautiful thing of coilovers. We'll just wind them down.
Yeah. I reckon we'll go 60 mil.
60 mil?
2.5. 63, 2.5.
So it's also important to note when you're setting up a set of coilovers, see what Kurt's doing there is he's setting up preload. So when you get the spring perch here and the top of the strut just contacting with no load on it, that's a 0 preload. Now your setup's obviously going to be individual to you, but we've got a 7 kilo spring in the front of this, and the preload setting is 0 to 10 mil. So I think we'd just go to 10 mil. Give it max preload.
Shockworks said to do it, so that's why we're doing it.
Exactly.
They know. We don't.
Liking the gloves, mate?
I love the gloves. I love gloves.
Bitch mittens.
It's not bad. Like, he would be happy with that height, I reckon.
Yeah, I think you're right. I reckon Caden would probably be happy with it. It looks like it'll ride really nice.
It will ride nice. We know that much. It's honestly probably about the same height as what it was before, eh?
I think you're right. So there you have it. That is one coilover upgrade on an early Commodore. Wasn't as difficult as it may have seemed, really. No. Because
The only non-DIY thing, which still really is DIY, is just the welding, which was, like I mentioned earlier, you could weld it with anything, really. Probably not, don't touch it with gasless. Don't touch it with that, but pretty much anything else, if you've got some proficiency, you'd be laughing. So pretty easy. Yeah, we didn't have to press anything on. It was just a bit of wood and a bit of hammer, as you've seen. So and the rest is just standard suspension shit. Pretty much anyone can fuck that up.
That's right. Yeah, and now that means Caden's got all the adjustability if he wants. Obviously, Cover's got the camber adjustment in those strut tops. We got dampening adjustment on the shock, height adjustment. But the big win for us is obviously what was under here, in that now we've got a whole bunch of extra room here between the strut and that inner wheel well, so that we can run the aluminium charge piping from under the chassis there, up, over, and then into the intercooler there, which is going to be your next hurdle.
Yeah, no, it'd be good. It'd be good to get it joined up to the motor. Another little milestone.
It would, yeah. It'd be nice just to have the fabrication side of this rear mount turbo kit totally complete.
Yeah.
To which then we'll have to move on to oil system for it and fabricating fuel system stuff.
Yeah,
and
fuel tank and...
So there's still a lot of fab work to go. If that's what you like, if that's what you're enjoying the channel for, well then you're in for a treat.
Yeah. Yeah, still a little bit left to do, yeah.
That's it. But on this one, I'm going to wrap it up. Done deal. If you'd like to get one of these, brand new, pick your poison shirts. Here you go, Kurt. Show them the design. You can head over to www.torqhub.com.au. Pre-orders do finish when, Kurt?
13th of September.
Yeah, midnight Wednesday.
How did I remember that?
I don't know. You did well. I'm actually impressed.
Yeah. Get your orders in. We appreciate all the support.
Yeah, and
Shirts look sick.
Big thanks to all you legends who have already got your orders in early. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks heaps. Anyway, let's knock it on the head.
Done deal.
See you on the next one. Cheers.